Hello, and a happy Erev Shabbos, an introduction to Shabbos, and welcome to our weekly broadcast, the pre-Shabbos sermonette. It's so good to be back with everybody, and we're going to share some thoughts of Torah today, some thoughts of inspiration for the times that we live in, both spiritually and physically, materially. But before that, I would just like to point out to everybody that we all know Pesach is coming. And there's a lot of preparations that have to be done for Passover. And we want to make sure that everyone is able to do it the right way at home. Unfortunately, we still cannot open up the Seder for everyone, for the community. So we have arranged to have the Seder at home. And if you go to our URL, jewishcenter.info/Seder at home, that's jewishcenter.info/Seder at home, you will, let me bring that up on the screen. You'll come to the website and you'll see that we have three options. One is to order a Seder kit. Everything you need to do for the Seder except the food, only the food that you need for the Seder plate. That's one option to help you do that. Then, of course, we have a full Seder menu that we're not preparing ourselves, but we're helping you by connecting with a kosher caterer up in the Poconos who will deliver it to the center here in Newtown. So if you want to do more than just the Seder plate, you can do that. And then this next project, the third option is the Seder project. Now, the Seder project is something very interesting because there are many people that just can't make it out at the Seder, but they're not aware of this program. So you can either volunteer to deliver the Seder to them on our behalf, or you can nominate. If you know somebody that is not able to have a Seder and needs help, please go to this website, jewishcenter.info/Seder project. Let us know that they need help. Either they can't afford it, but if they can't afford it, they're homebound. Everything will be confidential, and we'll make sure they have a Seder. So you can either volunteer to deliver it or let us know someone who needs it. And of course, help and be a sponsor if you want to take part of this big mitzvah. But the most important thing is to make sure that not only you're covered for your Seder through the Seder for options at the Seder at home, but also if you know somebody that needs it, make sure to join our Seder project. So, my dear friends, we will come back to these websites. If I can just find my mouse here. There we go. I thought we went, yep. If we could just go back here, we got the mouse. All right, here we are together again, getting ready for Shabbat. Let me get rid of that domain name so we can focus together on what's an important message for this Shabbos. And I want to begin with a cute little joke that I read online one day this week. And there's this beautiful movie that has just concluded, and everybody is so, moved and inspired, and everybody walks out so quietly and solemnly in thought about the message of this movie. And the theater is empty. The cleaning crew come in. They're cleaning up all the popcorn or bags or whatever's left on the floor. And then they see there's a guy just sitting across 5 seats, laying down. They try waking him up. Sir, you have to leave. Nothing doing. So the cleaning crew calls the guards. The guards come in. The guards start to tell him, sir, get up. You have to leave. This isn't a bedroom. Guards can't do it. So they call the police, and the chief, it's like a big issue. This guy isn't moving, isn't budging. So finally the chief of police comes, shows him the badge, and sir, you need to talk to me. We need to move. And my first question, where are you coming from? The guy barely is able to let out a word. He says, I just came from the balcony. My friends, sometimes I feel like that guy who just fell off the balcony. After everything that we've gone through, all the changes, and changes are still happening I won't say every single day, but at least every other day, I speak to someone whose life has been changed, who has to change things in their life. It's been a really shaky year for so many different people, actually for everybody. And sometimes we look back and we feel like we just fell off that balcony and just landed, and we just don't know where to go and where to move. And it's been that type of year. But my dear friends, I love my faith. I love my tradition. It is not an age-old tradition. If you're able to tune in to the timelessness of this message, you see how timely it is. And we've been doing this almost a year now together, tapping into the energy of the week, of the traditions, of the minhagim, I guess, or the different things, the different practices of the time. And we see how relevant, how inspiring it could be for us. And in fact, now that we've almost together gone through a cycle, you see that what we spoke about last year is very different this year because we're a year later. We've gone through so much in the past year. And I think the beautiful message of this Shabbos is like the title of our talk, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. It's a new year. The year has concluded, and now we're starting a new phase in what we've all gone through together. Because, as you know, Rosh Hashanah, our Jewish New Year, is usually sometime in September, occasionally beginning of October. That's when we see Shana Tova, Happy New Year. The secular New Year is January 1st. So what kind of Happy New Year is it today on March 12th? What kind of New Year is it? Well, my dear friends, on Sunday is going to be Rosh Chodesh, a new month on the Jewish calendar. And tomorrow in the synagogue, in services, we're going to bless this new month. Now, it's not just another new month on the calendar. In fact, it's the first month. It's another new year on the Jewish calendar. And I won't get into the complications of how we have multiple New Years. But let's go back to the first Jewish month that existed. And that was right before the Exodus of Passover. And right before the Exodus of Passover, we weren't even a Jewish nation as a people. The first mitzvah, the first precept, the first communication from God on what we need to do was to sanctify the moon and set our calendar according to the lunar calendar, according to the lunar year. And this has such an incredible significance, not just about how we use our calendar, but what is the most important message that Judaism is trying to instill, not only to the Jews, but we are light unto nations, through us, to everyone that we encounter. It is the first foundational mitzvah upon which our whole exodus, our whole redemption is built on. The new month of a new year. It was the beginning of a new cycle of counting our year. Why was that so important? And let me explain. And a beautiful insight in how the Jewish year works. We don't only follow a lunar year. Their months go according to the lunar year. But every 2 years, since a lunar month is a few days shorter than a solar month, the lunar calendar starts to fall behind. And the Jewish calendar, every 3 years, 2 to 3 years, inserts an additional month to keep the lunar year aligned with the solar year. So that Passover isn't only always on the first month of this lunar cycle, but it's always during spring, which is dependent on the solar year. So in a sense, God isn't only instructing us to count the calendar according to the lunar cycle, God is giving us even a deeper message. It's important to keep both cycles together. We must align ourselves with what could be two different realities, the cycle of the lunar year and the cycle of the solar year. In fact, the Muslim calendar is the reason why you'll find that the Muslim holidays, which is strictly on the lunar calendar, come out throughout the entire secular year because there's no alignment. However, the mitzvah of counting the Jewish calendar is not just to count according to the lunar year, but it's to align the lunar year with the solar year. Why is that so important? Why is that so incredible? Because this is the fundamental teaching of Judaism, alignment. See, too many times in our life, it's either or. Either I'm going to be godly or I'm going to be materialistic. Either I'm going to be observant or I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I won't do anything. Either I'll do it all or I won't do anything. I can't live in both realities at the same time. And therefore, we prevent ourselves from benefiting even from a little bit because we have this kind of all or nothing approach. If we are able to align ourselves between the opposites in our life, between things that seem to conflict in our life, but we're able to find a way to bring them together, then we have lived, and we will have lived, a full and complete life. This is the beginning of our redemption. This is the beginning of the message that Judaism brings. It's not either God or the world. It's not either faith or science. It's not either I understand or I don't. Those two extremes conflict with each other if we choose them to conflict with each other. However, the fact that they're both part of our reality means that we can fuse them together and find that common ground and therefore live a more complete life. Are we living our life one-dimensional? It's only what I see and that's all that exists? Or is there a deeper dimension? Do I have to live my life only in accordance to what is visible and tangible? Do I have to live my life, denounce what's tangible and just be abstract and detached? Or is there a meeting point in which both of them grow from the fact that they're able to be aligned? The month, what we're going to celebrate on Sunday, teaches us that the key to understanding Judaism's perspective on life is not just to live with a lunar calendar, but to be able to align the lunar calendar with what maybe appear to be the polar opposite, which is a solar calendar, and bring them both together. And I want to share a story that I read last week. But before that story, there's a saying. And the saying is, everyone in your life is either a friend or a lesson. Or let me put it that way. Every experience and interaction that you have with someone is either pleasant or a lesson. But everything can be productive. And that is the important message of alignment. We shouldn't discount negativity as if that's negative and I don't want to have anything to do with that. We shouldn't just say that only things that are visibly positive is something I want to embrace. True alignment means seeing and taking something which is negative or appears to be negative, looking at a challenge, looking at a struggling moment, and being able to bring that into a positive part of your life. You had a negative interaction with someone, learn a lesson from that, grow from that, and then that becomes something positive. Yesterday, and I'll say my story in a second, was March 11th. Yesterday, if you turn on the news, I'm sure if you watch the news, if you read the news, I just got 2 newspapers today, and they're all talking about a year ago, a year of all the people that have passed. It's kind of been a anniversary that I don't know if we want to observe. And you think back of everything that took place a year ago when we started reacting to the pandemic with all the consequences that it had on our lives. It's been a year. But on the other hand, it's a new year. It's a Rosh Hashanah. It's Chodesh Nisan. It's a month that we can start a beginning. I feel it. I see how people are saying how families are starting to come together for the Seder. Now with the vaccine, or people that have already gone through had to experience COVID itself, people are loosening up. People are slowly starting to return. Let this not just be an anchor to the past. Let this be a new year, but not a year in which we forget everything that happened in the past year, but we align the optimism and the positivity that we're looking forward to over the next few months and hopefully the rest of our lives. And we bring into that the message and the lessons and the positive things that have happened. And there was so much positive over the last year. So as we think about moving from the year of the pandemic to, let's say, a year of moving forward, let's not leave all the beautiful and important lessons behind, and let's bring it with us. Let's live that alignment between the sun and the moon, and let's live the alignment between what we see and a deeper message that we have learned. And this is the story that I want to conclude with. I read it just a week or two ago, but it's a very impactful story. And I think in a way, it sums up a lot of what I have learned over the last year, but I think what many people can take from the year that has passed. It's a story of an old Jewish fellow, not necessarily old, a Jewish fellow in a cold Russian winter who was going through the forest, through the snow and the bitter cold, and got lost. And the sun was setting, and the bitter cold of the day turned into even a greater bitter coldness at night. And he's there alone in the forest. There's no way if he stayed where he was till daylight that he would survive it. It was freezing. He figures, instead of standing in one place, let him walk. If he walks, first of all, his body will be a little bit warmer. And number two, maybe he'll find a building where he can sleep. And he's walking, and he's freezing, and he's trudging through the snow, and he's getting frostbitten, and he's just about to give up. When out of the corner of his eye, he sees in the distance there's a light. Well, in a dark forest, a light means somebody's there. So he figures he has nothing to lose. He starts to go through the snow and go closer and closer to that light, source of light. As he gets closer, he sees it's a house. Not bad. As he gets closer to the house, he sees this light is like really warm, a strong light. He goes up to the door, and lo and behold, on the door is a mezuzah. He says, wow, a fellow Jew, of course they will save me and bring me in. He knocks on the door. Nobody answers. He knocks again. Nobody answers. He says, I'm going to knock one more time, and if not, what should he do? And he knocks on the door a third time. Nobody answers. He said, well, either no one's home or they're sleeping, but he can't get in. So he just sits down, ready to die. The coldness is seeping into his bones deeper and deeper. The frostbite is getting unbearable. And he really feels this is the end. Then he has an idea. He says, you know what? Let me get up and start to dance. That will keep my body warm. And at least maybe there's hope that I'll be able to make it to the morning. He gets up and he starts to barely move his body. He's all frozen, but slowly there's a little movement in his body. And as he goes, he starts to move and he starts to dance. Here in the middle of this Russian cold winter night forest, there's this Jew that's dancing, and he's dancing and moving and dancing and moving, and he's somehow makes it to the morning while he's dancing. And he knocks on the door again. And the head of the household, nice fellow, Jewish-looking guy, answers, come in, warm yourself up. Can I give you some tea? How did you make it? How did you make it through the night? Why is this dancing that you were doing? How did you manage to do so? And this is what he tells his host. He says, my dear friend, I was about to give up. I knew I was going to die. But I couldn't imagine what you would feel like, he tells the host, if you opened the door in the morning and you found someone who's dead right at your doorstep, at the doorstep, because you were sleeping and couldn't open the door. I couldn't bear the guilt that I would cause you. So I have to figure out, how am I going to stay alive so that you won't feel that burden on you of causing someone to die. And I didn't know what to do. And I figured, you know what? If I start to dance, it will keep me alive so that you wouldn't have to bear that burden of guilt of causing someone to die. And because I was so concerned of you, guess what? I survived. And here we are. And this is an important lesson because it talks not just about the past year, but in general. When you care about someone else, when you worry and help someone else, and I'm talking about worry in a negative way, in a stressful way, but when you're concerned about helping someone else, it helps you. So many times we're thinking about our own problems, our own issues, our own challenges, our own struggles, that we get so caught up in our own legitimate struggles that we need to deal with, that we feel just so overwhelmed. We still drowned out. But the reality is, the more you're able to not ignore your troubles, we're talking about alignment here, the more you're able to just take a few moments and think of somebody else, help somebody else realize that they're not alone. It lifts you up automatically. And that may be the antidote. That may be what you need to be able to survive on your own. And this is something that I have seen over the last year. Over the last year, I've seen so much care, so much concern, so much reaching out between people in the community and beyond. It's been an incredible outpouring of concern between people. And I believe because we showed that concern, and the more concern people were showing for each other, that's what got us through. We found new ways to connect with people that we never have, either through Zoom or even a simple phone call. Let's keep up those connections. Let's not go back to a life of isolation where everybody's just so concerned about their own survival, about their own success. We need to be concerned about our success. We need to be concerned about our survival. But we need to align ourselves between us and others the way the moon is aligned with the sun. The fundamental aspect of Judaism is that there's a deeper purpose. When you're able to reach out of yourself into a greater purpose, whether it's helping another person, making a difference in this world, that itself is what will lift you up. That's the new year we begin. That's the year, that's the month, that's the idea of the Chodesh that brings about and ushers in the redemption, the festival of redemption, personal redemption, and ultimate redemption. Always remember, it's not about you alone. It's about what you can do and bring to someone else and to the world at large. That becomes the foundation of our faith. That becomes the most important message and life message that our Judaism gives us. The ability to live the multidimensional lives, alignment between all the different aspects of our life, so that we are able to focus on that greater, more colorful purpose of what life is all about. So as we're going to say tomorrow at the synagogue after we read the Torah, Chazak, Chazak, V'nis Chazek. Every time we finish a book of the Torah, we say, you be strengthened. To the person who's called up, you be strengthened, and we will all be strengthened. The more you're able to bring strength to someone else, the stronger you become, and the stronger we all become, and the stronger the world becomes. So Happy New Year. It's Pesach. It is a new year. It's not only a new year on the Jewish calendar, it's not only a new year in the beginning of life as a Jewish people back then, but it's really a new year as we all go through the pandemic, not only go through the pandemic, but are coming out of the other end, hopefully, of this pandemic in a way with a new beginning, but a new beginning that builds on the strong messages of the past year. Have a great Shabbos, and let this Shabbos usher in a great and inspiring introduction into leading into our own personal celebration of Passover. And therefore, I want to remind you once again, anything that we can do to help you to celebrate the Passover at home, jewishcenter.info, Seder at home. You can go to jewishcenter.info at the Seder Project, or just go to jewishcenter.info. And on the front page, you'll have links to everything that we have for Pesach. If you need any help, need anybody who knows help, let us know. We're here to help because I have learned, and I hope I've shared with you through the year, the more you're here to help others, the stronger we all become. So my dear friends, have a good Shabbos. Let's see who's here to want to wish everyone else a good Shabbos. Okay, Joyce Soxfeld is saying good Shabbos, Rabbi. I'm sure Joyce, you're saying good Shabbos to everyone. Mara, good Shabbos, Rabbi and everyone. David, Tyler, David, I haven't heard from you in a while. Rabbi Hachua Vaiva, good Shabbos to you, Natalie, and the entire family. Joel Greenberg, good Shabbos, is wishing everyone a good Shabbos. I'm going to sign off in a few minutes. If anybody wants to wish the community a good Shabbos, as we do typically, post it. Actually, somewhere. I've never been on the other end of this broadcast, so I'm not sure where you have to post the comment. But as we sign off, and we wish everyone a good Shabbos, I'll give this another 5 seconds if anybody wants to participate in. Oh, I have another last minute good Shabbos. Oh, so Joyce is giving us a good message. Joyce is saying good Shabbos to everyone. Let me get this up here. Joyce is saying good Shabbos for everyone. She has a good solution. I shared a l'chaim with another resident, the first one I've had in many years. Could all say a good l'chaim, getting ready for the 4 cups. Make sure we still maintain the safety requirements, which have been a little relaxed, I understand, for those who have gotten the vaccine. Arlene is here with us. Arlene, good Shabbos, happy Pesach. And thank you for those who helped me this year. Our pleasure, Arlene, and you've been very helpful to many others. So thank you for everything you've done. And with that, we'll sign off. I can learn how to, let me get this thing off the banner. And as long as I got one more. It's hard to leave go. Okay. All right. Everyone have a good Shabbos. Again, if anything we can do for you for the holiday, for Yom Tov, please don't hesitate to let us know. And with that, I sign off.